This conference will now be recorded.
Yeah, I had to text his wife.
All right, we'll call the meeting to order and stand for the pledge.
Flag.
United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
O Lord, as we gather this day, to the important business of the people of the village of Owego, grant us wisdom, compassion, and understanding. Amen.
Amen.
All right, first section as usual, public comment. And oh, we got it up.
I'll fight over
I came tonight because I noticed on the agenda that there was a informational item of a liquor license filing for O'Reilly Falls 44 Front Street, which is the Pompelli House. And recently I've realized that the Pompelli House is really not zoned for where they are. It's an R2 zone. You can't have a bed and breakfast. I know it's been there for a while. I know somebody before them had a bed and breakfast, so some people thought that eventually it was grandfathered, but there's no grandfathering for something that is illegal. So what I would like the board to do is basically enforce the R2 law until who's ever operating or hopes to operate 44 Front Street for anything, that it can be a two-family residence and that's it.
Yeah, well, that's a zoning issue that we definitely ought to do.
I mean, they could always put a complaint into the zoning board.
So to follow up on that, if it's supposed to be R2, how does this board talk about giving them a liquor license when they can't actually operate as a business?
Well, so liquor license, we don't give them the liquor license.
Right.
We get a notification from the state that they filed a liquor license.
Right.
All that we do. We
But
can say that we
you
don't
approve it
agree
or
with
not
that.
approve it, or?
No. But the zoning.
Yeah, we can object to the liquor license, is my understanding. That's the informational piece of it.
Yeah, so.
Doesn't really, it just says that we don't agree with it.
Right, but I don't understand how you would agree with it if it's not zoned to be any kind of business and have a liquor license, you've gotta be a business. So, my name's Chris Welch, we live right next door, right, shared property. And when they have events there's bottles and cans all over the backyard. I've been involved, my in-laws owned the house prior, and, going all the way back to the Taylors. It started as a B&B, very nice, a couple people there staying there, then it kind of evolved a little bit to weddings once in a while. That was kind of okay, and all the people live around kind of said okay to that. Then all of a sudden it became a quote unquote event center. And my biggest concern is, if a liquor license gets granted to that facility, what are they gonna do? Have 2 events on Saturday and 2 events on Sunday and have 400 cars on the street and 1,000 people events with big, tents up? Once the cat gets out of the bag, can't stop it. I mean, so, I would not be in approval of this.
Question, okay, if we say it has to conform with the prior zoning, can they request a special event at some time in the future?
I don't know.
I'm just
Are they
asking,
a
I don't know.
business?
That's a name kind of question.
Yeah, that's a Nate question.
Yeah.
No, he has another meeting on Tuesday, so he's gonna join us later. It's our usual nice Mondays.
But while the village board does not have the granting authority for the liquor license, they could write a letter to the liquor control board saying this establishment isn't zoned for what they are doing and they should not get a liquor license there.
That is true.
Now, I know the liquor board doesn't necessarily listen to that, but at least you send a letter.
Right.
Is there a liquor license there now for them?
I think
I wouldn't imagine so if they were
I
trying
think
to
there is.
find
Right. Well, it's new ownership.
Yes, previous owner
House
would
is
have owned
changing
the license.
owners, they can't just pass over it.
I know you can't, you gotta get a new one.
Same thing. If if they have any kind of special use permits from the zoning board, they don't transfer either.
Yeah, none of that transfer. I mean, that's kind of what's happened. I mean, you know, the Taylors had a B and B thing going, next time they moved in, they kind of kept the B and B thing going, and technically, they can't even do that, they have to reapply.
Right.
You know?
And it's not allowed in Ruston.
Right.
I think the primary objection is over the years, our property runs parallel to the Pumpelly. And we would go down towards the river, going, I guess it would be south on the property. And we would routinely find broken liquor bottles, empty cans, bottles, kids or adults, I don't know, partying on our property because they leave their property to get a little bit more privacy to do more partying. And, you know, they come and trash and party on our property, which, you know, I certainly don't appreciate. And I think our new neighbor here is another house over, and you can speak.
I've got young kids and we just moved in. I have total 7 children, 4 at home, and all young. But I take them down to the water all the time and I'm constantly picking up. And I'm not saying it's all coming from there, but broken glass, I mean, I can't even take them in the water. There's just so much glass. And if this gets approved, it's just gonna be that much worse.
Right.
Not to mention having people kind of spilling over into other people's yards and leaving trash. I can't leave my kids out there like that. That was the whole point of moving to a town like this. So that's my concern. I'm at 24, right next to this here. Assis, Visa, Assis, A-Z-I-Z. Yes.
I think for some reason it was thought to be grandfathered from Taylor's to, what's her name, Mary Kay, and then to Bouse. But this is a good time to address it in relationship to the law on the books and tell the new people, this is what you can and can't do. It's a, you know, good opportunity to change direction there.
You know, it's escalated over the years. Sometimes they have 3 events in a weekend. You know, particularly on our block, and I guess because Scott is too, you know, a lot of us park on the street. So then there's nowhere to park. We got to park 2 blocks away because there's an event that takes up the entire street and on the side street.
Yeah, we hear about that all the time.
You do?
Yeah.
Well,
So I think it's
now's
really,
your opportunity.
yeah, so I think it's really a matter of the thing just keeps escalating and escalating and escalating. And it's not necessarily the liquor license specifically, but once you allow them that other component of it, I mean, heck, they serve dinner every night. It becomes a restaurant. Can't stop them if you let them do it, you know. So, yeah, so that's why, I mean, to his point, maybe the board could say, hey, listen, you know, it's really not supposed to be a liquor license at this facility.
Well, and they've done a lot of building over the years too.
That's probably zoning issue
It
too.
probably hasn't been
You know,
through,
there's been,
and it probably hasn't conformed with what they applied for.
Bacon Street runs right between 2 properties. Bacon Street, sort of paved Bacon Street with a dead end sign, terminates for access to both houses. From then on, the Bacon Street property is not maintained. So that's kind of an issue all by itself, but in the last 15 years, there's been 2 additions built there. There's been a dining room built off the back of the place. There's been a deck built off the back of that. I don't know if any of that was done above board.
Yeah, we have to ask codes.
Yeah. Anyway.
Or some of that information is gone because of the flood, but not, a lot of it's not.
Rusty has his hand up like he's gonna say something.
Okay, so generally, we want to hear from you, we don't go back and forth and, you know, talk, you know, I'm just saying in general, but we still try to do a little bit of that, so I'm gonna do just a little piece right now. On many things, things were always a certain way, things were not looked at in a particular way, we didn't pay attention to some rules, we didn't pay attention to laws. One of the things that happens is, when things get brought to somebody's attention, that's when now is the time to pay attention to those rules and laws. When something gets brought, just like code doesn't go around trying to find everything, but when they get a complaint, now they have to go and they have to follow all that code, they have to do all that. So this is a change of ownership. This is the, as you say, this is the time for us to look at all this stuff now and say, what the heck's going on, what's right, what's legal, but all that. So this is our job. So look at this now.
Zone in R2. They can apply to rezone it, but I think isn't that one section of Front Street R2?
Yes, it is, I got the zoning map right here.
The rezoning wouldn't really apply because it'd be spot zoning.
We couldn't rezone
Yeah,
that one,
Mr.
but-
Meredith, to pick up on Rusty's comments, I think, maybe what we ought to do is, without making any rash decision, resolve to study this with an eye towards, potentially writing in non-support of that liquor license. I think it's got to be done relatively quickly, but I think we could do that before the next meeting.
Yeah, we have so many days to do that.
Well, is it up to the zoning board to, listen to our residents on this issue?
Yeah, so eventually if they apply for new permits, the zoning board has a public meeting.
Right.
We'll have public
Now,
comment.
Mike, can you send a letter to the state liquor board, say put a hold on this because we're not approving it?
Well, we can't say put a hold on it, but like what Ed's saying, we can check into it and possibly write to them to say we don't approve it after we check into it.
Yeah. So maybe now is not, well, I guess if we want to close out public comment, we could make a motion to study this, but we probably want to get through public comment first and then, then figure out what we want to do with this. I don't know, you guys.
Well,
Back to them.
me?
Yeah, you can.
I got thrown off here. So you can write a letter to Liquor Control Board, that's true, but it's still an R2, and there's the problem of it's operating out of an R2 restriction.
So that's a code issue.
Correct.
So we'll have to give codes.
That's the elephant in the room.
Yeah, that's happened in other places.
Sure.
Code deals.
Yeah. And as Kevin is saying, I think it would make sense to take a look at this and figure out what our position is and, come back and maybe make a decision on that next meeting.
Excuse me, did I hear you say that there was a zoning meeting coming up
No,
involving
so
this?
they schedule them as they get an application.
Okay.
But that would be one route to resolve the problem potentially.
Right. I mean, they could go ahead and get a liquor license, but then they couldn't use it, right?
If they were going to approve that, they would have to be, they're required to talk to neighbors, which I don't know if that's.
Well, yeah, I also, I would wonder how they could get a liquor license if they're living in an R2.
That's a good
I
question.
mean, maybe the state isn't being told that. Right. It's an event center, we need a liquor license. Well, no, it's not. It's a residential house.
May I quote, Kobe?
Yep.
So, an R3
Always
zone,
bring it.
I always bring it, but yeah, R3 zone, includes all the, things that you could do in a 1 and 2, which are the 1 and then the 1 and 2 family homes. And then that includes hotels, motels, etc. in an R3. And it says, but even to do that, you have to have a special use permit from the Board of Appeals. In a 3, you have to have that. In a 2, there is no place where you're allowed to have any of that stuff. You're not allowed to have that stuff in a 2. You may get a special use permit for a professional office. So a doctor or a lawyer, if they live in that building and they live in that house, they can have their office in that house. And they have to get a special use permit to have that in a 2. There is no special use permit that our zoning board of appeals is allowed to at least that would be the take on this, to give them in an R2 for a motel or hotel or event center or anything. So when they come to our board of appeals and ask that,
You should tell them no.
I would expect they will tell them, that's not allowed in our code. I don't know that, but that would be one reading of this code. We will see how that all goes.
I mean, it would appear that maybe the sellers were not honest with the new owners.
We don't know nothing about that. We didn't know nothing.
else have public comment about this?
I'm sorry, I missed, what address are we talking about?
The Pumpelly House.
I'm sorry?
The Pumpelly House?
Oh, okay, it's sold?
Yes.
For how much?
No idea.
3.
3 million?
Yeah.
We don't know, and it's immaterial.
I'm certain that it's sold.
Well, I'm assuming it's sold.
Okay, so we don't
Not
know, we
according
don't
to
know
the
that it's
record, it
sold.
hasn't sold.
Correct,
I
we
just-
don't know if it's sold or
Maybe it's
not.
still in process.
That's true.
Yeah, because I just looked at it
It might still be in process.
yesterday.
But somebody new applied for a liquor license. That's all we know.
And can they apply for it, they don't own it?
Yeah.
Once again,
They can?
That's another good question.
Yeah, in other words, I'm thinking that they
I think
own
that's
it.
probably fair.
And then they would
Yeah.
apply.
Yeah, that's a lot of money. So, are we good with public comment? I think we're on the same page. Public comment.
Well, I want to do something, and I called today just to find out if I can or not. There is a property for sale across from Buffy, that's been for sale for quite some time. It's
what is a Buffy?
Sorry? Insurance
It says
agent.
there's a property across from Buffy, I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay, I'm sorry, Buffy, the insurance agent.
Okay.
Was it 442 Front Street?
Yeah, it's 442 Front Street. It's right around the
Thank
corner. The,
Blue
you know,
house.
the 15-mile-an-hour turn there. Okay, there's a traffic light there, and it's a perfect place for what I want to do. However, it's zoned R2, but Buffy is zoned R4, and I want to get it zoned R3. I don't care about liquor. I think I would do a bring your own booze sort of deal. But I do want to make sure that it's safe for family, you know, for children, and run it as a restaurant, like a real bed and breakfast, like the Belleville Lockwood Inn, not an Airbnb. I don't want to do Airbnb. You don't know who's in there doing what, and it's all destroyed when you leave. You don't have any control over it. So if I run it as a real bed and breakfast, then, and also run it as a not-for-profit. So I have to work with a couple of different things, right? I gotta get the setup at the bank that says this is a doing business as not-for-profit, have a board of directors, and then find out, you know, what the taxation will be, because the tax at 342 is killing me. I love that house, and that is the best house, I'm telling you, of all of Owego. Any house that I've seen in town, the ones that are being repaired have, they're new floors, but they're not historic floors. The floors in that house are just to die for. And also the mural in the basement that hardly any people know about. I talked to the historian guy, and he said, well, at least now some other people will get to enjoy the mural. Nobody's gonna get to enjoy the mural. You know, I mean, it was really a nice thing to do for the home. You were a docent at one of the home tour things back when we had the walking tour thing. It should be on that. That house is incredible. The history of it, and then the mural in the basement was painted in the 1930s. You know, I mean, how many other houses have that sort of history still maintained? You know, people come in and they wipe it all out and they put in a brand new kitchen. Well, I mean, that's nice, but the history of the house is really gone. And so I wanted a historic house. I just heard there's another one that just popped up on Main Street. You know, so there are some other ones. But that house on the corner there, if I can get it zoned R3, where I can run it as a bed and breakfast, a real one, and get the safety things taken care of, you know, anything that's a code violation for safety for family. You know, like you can't open a window and fall down 20 feet, that's a bad deal. So that kind of thing, you know, outlets have to be, you can't stick your fingers in the outlet, and everything's gotta be GFCI, all that kind of stuff. And I know how to do all this, but if I can't get the zoning changed, then the project is just wasted for me. It doesn't have river access. It's landlocked, but if I get a right of way there, somebody's gotta go all the way to the river. It's a shared driveway with some, really nice house, and I haven't met the people, but I hear they're very nice. So the project works, but if I can't do the zoning,
then I'm not even gonna pursue it. And I called, whoever, I called your office, and I got a nice lady, and then she transferred me to a reporting. So,
Yeah, so, to application to rezone is DPW, which is Megan. I know they were off for a couple days, so.
okay. But it's, you know, if it's not spot zoning, Buffy is zoned R4, so she's up.
Yeah, so once you do the application, all that would be looked at.
And how long does that take?
Megan would know, it's a couple month process, it's just the application, we schedule for the hearing.
The other thing is, even though Buffy is, or that building is zoned R4 now, it was a cluster of zoning mistakes on that property, went from industrial, used as an office, and then went to R3, I think, and then to R4. And I'm not saying it should have been stayed industrial, remained industrial, but it was not a thoughtful process to make it an R4, let me put it that way.
So Kevin, are you saying that you don't think that the other house, you know the house I'm talking
Yeah.
about, right? Do you think that's not a good idea to run a restaurant in there?
I think my opinion is probably moot.
Oh, well, no, but I mean personally, because it has a light,
It's a very
you know,
difficult
it
spot.
has a light.
It's a difficult spot to get in and out of it.
It isn't though, because there's a light there.
Yeah.
So the light is right there. You just stop and you stop at the light and you go right in that driveway. There's no better location than that. It is impossible to get in and out of 342 because you're gonna die on the road. People are going 90 miles an hour at 30, you know, with motorcycles and whatever. But that's a real light. It's a very real light.
Yeah, I know what
If
it is.
you're a resident, if you're a resident.
May I interject? May I
Yes.
interject? So this is public comment, and that's great for it's a great debate that you're having, but the comments really need to be directed to the board and things that we can do, not other members of the audience, please.
Thank you.
Rusty, yes.
Okay, so help me one more time. And I'm gonna use a phrase, it doesn't matter. This is the last house as you come around the corner that used to be what we call Awad's house, that big house there, that's the house we're talking about.
Yeah, it was for apartments, I think.
Okay, so here's the deal. That house is the last piece on the R2 district that goes all the way up Front Street, comes around. Next to that starts the various professional buildings and things, and those are R4s. So there is no R3 in there anywhere. So if somebody was to try and zone that, to make that one building an R3, which actually wouldn't help you anyways, but to make that one building an R3, you can't have a restaurant in an R3. And you can't have a restaurant in an R4. The R4 has, actually you can't even have a motel or a hotel. R4 has rooming or boarding houses. None of those have restaurants in them.
What's the Bubble Lockwood Inn?
That is an R3, and that is a motel boarding house that has the ability to serve, I'm gonna give you my opinion, the ability to serve food to its guests. That doesn't mean that doesn't mean a restaurant and you're bringing in 100 people. That means the people are staying there. If there's 3 people staying in that Bubble Lockwood, they can serve food to them from that Bubble Lockwood.
Yes, it's not open to the public.
It's not a
Daily.
restaurant.
Not open to
So
the
I
public.
apologize, and I'll rephrase what I want to do then. I run it as a bed and breakfast or a, bed and dinner place.
Okay.
Because it has bedrooms,
There's
there's 4
a problem.
bedrooms.
There's a problem with that.
And I do so you zone it as an inn?
There's a problem with that because R3 would allow you to have a motel or a hotel that could serve some food to them. R4 doesn't allow that. R4 allows a boarding house, but not with the ability to have an accessory food service.
So they don't serve food at the nursing home?
You're asking a question that, I'm just telling you what the rules are. I'm not here to tell you that.
I know, but there's the river, whatever the heck that thing is called, that's gotta be R4, right? The nursing home.
You're asking me why questions I don't have answers for.
Okay. Well, sorry.
No, so what about the nursing home? What about that restaurant? I don't know that stuff. I'm just telling you what the rules are.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. It's problematic.
So
for
I
you.
have to, I have to figure out what I want the zoning to be. I mean, if I change it to the same zoning as develop Lockwood Inn, then it's spot zoning because there's, this, you know, this is, I'm in the Bethel Farmers Market and everybody's all in a tizzy because, oh, you can't do this and we're over here and we're over there and the library's saying you haven't clustered together and then they're saying spread apart and everybody's all mad at everybody. And this lady says, Terry, you need to read the book. It's called Everything I Want to Do is Illegal. I mean, I can understand laws to protect people and to make things safe, but when you're stifling somebody who really wants to do a good job, what's the purpose of that? I mean, you can rewrite the law that says, let's have sense. Yeah, you know, we're wasting a lot of money on drug addicts and people that are sucking up, what do they call it now? Narcan, and you know, how many times you're gonna save a drug addict before you don't let him, I mean, I just listened to a guy today, he's a mess, he's been through drug rehab about 20 times, and he's on the phone saying, well, I get food stamps, and I get this, and I get that, and I was thinking, oh, that's nice. You know, can I have that? And the answer is no, I can't. You know, so, sorry, go ahead, Fran.
So, Mike, so is, her answer to go to, the code office, ask for a form, have it rezoned,
Yeah, they'll help you
and not
figure it out.
put in a number, but say zone for this and this.
The codes office will help you figure out what you want.
Yeah, I left along, you know, a couple-minute message, after I called, you know, because yesterday, I thought the meeting was gonna be next Monday, so I had a little time. But I don't wanna, you know, spend a lot of time writing up contracts and doing things if the answer's gonna be no from you guys, or from the town, or from some other person will say, well, I didn't want it that way, I wanted to do this with it. But the days on market for that property are a long time, because you know, it's a nice sort of conversion, they did some nice things on the first floor, the kitchen is beautiful. But, you know, the rest of it is done sloppy, the painting job is odd, and, you know, the colors are, what I would say not nice. And so, you know, it doesn't compare to my house, so if they're gonna try to get financing on that baby for the same price, no way. There's just no way, mine's gonna be comparable, 342 will be comparable, and there's just no way they're gonna get it. So, you know, I'd like to get it and do something with it that's nice, that's good for the community, you know. Wherever down there, it's for the Strawberry Fest or Porch Fest, it's a great Porch Fest house. Porch Fest is gonna be August 6th, is what I hear, right? Is that correct?
I don't know.
Or 5th, something like that. No? No?
Oh, we had a date, I don't know what it is, they gave us the paper.
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah, so it's
I'll,
coming up, yeah.
I'll stop talking now, but I'll get with you if I can and see if we can.
Yeah, so our next meeting.
If I can't do it, then it's okay, just let it sit there. You know, nobody's gonna buy that house. If you looked at the basement and the attic and everything else, OMG. I mean, you're gonna fall down the stairs and die. So,
So our next meeting is July 5th, so between now and then, figure out DPW.
Mike,
Go.
do you have any desire to have, I don't know, good and bad idea, have me chime in real quick about spot zoning? Or is that not the time for it? I don't care.
Apparently not.
Okay.
Apparently, yeah. All right, so we'll help you with that, look into it. Be checking into, well, somebody can maybe make a motion, if everybody's no public comment. Pretty good.
yeah, can you put me on the agenda for the,
Yep.
for the 5th?
All right, July 5th, yeah.
Can the board request that the zoning board schedule a meeting in the next month?
The zoning board doesn't make these.
Even if we.
Well, if we're dealing with whatever zoning 44 Front Street is. Okay.
No, the zoning board only comes when somebody has come to them with a particular proposal. Change zoning, the zoning board doesn't do that at all, that's totally our purview. So no one would go to the zoning board to change a place or and zoning. And if somebody wants something from a zone that requires a special use permit or whatever things from the zoning board, then they will have to apply to that zoning board for that.
That's what the zoning board does.
So we don't set up a meeting for the zoning board, and the zoning board doesn't do anything until somebody comes in here and does the paperwork and sets X, Y, and Z up. That's the process. Okay.
That's why they don't meet every month, because a lot of times there's nothing to do. All right, so, come on, public comment. Maybe Ed wants to make a motion?
Yeah, I was the one who suggested that, right?
Yeah.
Good job, Ed.
What, where did we leave that? So we want to make a motion to, or I want to make a motion to review these um, issues with an eye towards forwarding them to the zoning board?
Right, probably before we make the determination on the liquor license.
Yeah. Yeah, so I will make that motion.
Second
Or
one.
when?
So we're gonna put timeline before July 5th. That's our next meeting. You good with that, Ed?
Yeah.
Good with that, Charles?
Yes.
Any discussion on that?
I'm not exactly sure what we're doing, but
Basically, we're checking into the topics that were brought up before we do anything with the liquor license. So is there something we can
would
do?
not normally be a motionable action, but,
I guess it's just like a good faith.
okay, all right.
About the only action we can do is write a letter that says we don't.
Right, okay. Right.
But anyway, we'll look at all the issues you guys brought up, and then before we decide what letter we're gonna write. By the next meeting.
Just, I just don't know the procedure, so I'm not, does the, code enforcement get involved in, making an opinion?
They will likely have to on this one.
Yeah. So you know, we need to request the code enforcement to,
It'll be part of looking into it.
right, okay.
So, Rusty,
I don't know exactly what I'm voting for,
but for us to check into it, yeah.
okay, yes,
Laura?
Yes.
Dave? Yes. Brian?
Yes.
Charles?
Absolutely.
Ed?
Yes.
So we will look into that by next meeting. And we won't take any action on the liquor license tonight.
Thank you.
Yep. Thank you, guys. All right, now we'll go back to department reports.
I really don't have anything except for the motions.
Oh, yes. Should we do those now?
you want to do it?
Propose bunch of merit raises for various. For
Yes.
employees.
So I would make a motion to approve the merit raises as presented in the block in our agenda. So $2 per hour for Joshua Bowen Judson, $1.50 for Michael Cady, $1.75 for Jeffrey Duke, and $1 for Charles Whelan III.
I'll second that.
That would be fine with me, but Nate usually likes us to do these things one at a time, just tell us, Nate.
I don't see what the merit of doing them one at a time is.
No,
We
that's fine with me to do them all, and Nate sometimes tells us not to do that, so, hey Nate, you there?
He's there, maybe sleeping.
Hannah and Hank?
I am. I've got Hannah, but I mean, if you can do them all together as a block, just like Ed suggested, if there's no particular reason to discuss any one of them over another.
Great.
Sounds good.
Thank you. All good with me, Ed?
Thanks, Hannah.
All right, anybody has any discussion on all those? Rusty?
Yes.
Laura?
Yes.
Dave? Yes. Brian?
Yes.
Charles?
Yes.
far, we've been dispatched to 90 EMS calls for the month. As you know, the Strawberry Festival occurred. We had 11 people Friday night hanging out, patrolling around, 17 people on Saturday hanging out and throughout the station. My in the festival health paperwork is filled out. I forgot to send it to the state today. I'll do that when I get home. And Kevin Cum has completed his research, and all that paperwork is to New York State. 31 is in service, and 32 is out of service at the body shop. That should be done any day now. Last Tuesday, we were having some trouble with 33. That's out of service. The clutch fan that needs to be replaced is on back order, and they're still troubleshooting some parts that under the hood, engine related, that would be probably under warranty from our last engine replacement on that ambulance. And 51 has no known issues. A couple other things that are not on the list. I handed out a clinical agreement form that I received today. There's a young man that lives in town that is taking an EMT class through this agency. Per New York State Department of Health, they have to have a clinical affiliation agreement for them to do ride time with us. He's a local guy. He wants to end up volunteering with us, and in the future, we're going to be talking to him next week early, so I'll probably bring him into membership. So you guys can take a look at that. If you want to approve it tonight, that would be wonderful. If you want to review it and look at it until the next meeting, it wouldn't be that big of a deal. I talked to Nate briefly on email, and he said that you guys could approve it if you wanted to, pending his final review of that. We have these clinical affiliation agreements already with paramedic programs in 2 counties.
Could you clarify that some more as far as what you're asking?
It's so they can write on our students in that EMT program can write on our ambulance to get their EMT credentials.
It's part of his training.
Yes.
Right.
Mr. Mayor, move to accept the clinical application agreement, that word, agreement, contingent on the attorney reviewing and
Second.
Any discussion on that?
I just wanted to jump in. I actually did have a chance to review it earlier today. I had no issues with the draft.
My only question, looking at it, is it does say Owego Fire Department Emergency Squad.
Yeah,
Right name?
they do have to fix it. They must have taken that information off of an old state. It takes time for New York State to filter the new name through all their documents.
That's the only thing I saw.
and they saw that and so I just take care of it.
So we just cross out fire department?
Basically, it'll just say Village of Owego Emergency Squad.
Okay.
Any other discussion on that? We have a motion and a second to approve pending any issues Nate may have.
Which you already just said he did.
He did. So maybe the Nate.
You're right.
There, Rusty?
Yes.
Laura?
Yes.
Dave? Yes. Fran?
Yes.
Charles? Yes. Ed?
Yes.
And yes. All right.
Do you want me to reach out to these folks and have them change that one line? Is that my responsibility or somebody? I can do that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Give me one on the side.
Okay, I just want to make sure I'm not stepping on anybody's toes and 2 people aren't doing the same thing.
Yep.
So just want to follow up after the last village board meeting in reference to the New York State medical provider bonus. The office folks need to fill that out.
Okay.
My promise is I'm gonna bring that up every meeting until,
You should.
until, yeah. What's that?
Probably in between the meeting too.
Okay, all right. So tomorrow at 9 a.m.? Okay.
When they're here, so.
Okay, and, just curious on what the status is of cleaning up upstairs of the station.
No, so
It's
the
all,
process is advised. So the GRI is gonna do at least the clock tower.
okay,
That's the main part of it.
okay,
There's no point in cleaning up the water, so that.
okay,
So once the leak's fixed, then we.
all right. Because right now, one person within 95, a shovel, probably 20 minutes, it would, the majority of it would be cleaned up.
That's true, but we can't know that.
Okay,
You're not supposed to go out there.
I haven't been told I wasn't authorized. So,
There's a big sign.
okay. All right, and that's,
So that's the process. I mean, right now, it's, we gotta fix it.
okay.
Which hopefully will be very soon.
Is it on up to, is it out to bid?
No, hopefully very soon.
Okay,
Next couple of weeks.
okay. All right, because winter's right around the corner, unfortunately.
That's the push, yes.
Yes, okay,
Almost Christmas again.
that's it. For me.
I talked to Joe, police department, he didn't have anything. No, nothing he told me. Fire department, Charles, I know we had one.
We just got one thing, that we wanted to mention, Jim has a list.
Yes.
He has a list of surplus, equipment that he would like to, put up for auction. This would include 804, the old 804.
Yeah, which we've already authorized that one.
Right, we already authorized that one, so he has a list of other things.
The other stuff is kind of fiddly stuff, it's like.
Yeah.
Chainsaw, case,
But if you get through,
like you said, one of them should probably go in the trash, but.
yeah, we get something for whatever, anything is anything. So he would like to just have the approval for that.
Now he has an agency he's going to go through for the auction.
Mention that?
These guys right here, they gave him my
Is
little
it?
hand.
Okay.
Ox International.
So he's looking for approval to sell the other items that's in addition
Is
to,
there a list?
Yeah, there's a list.
yeah.
Share the list with us?
Yeah. Did he not send it to everybody? I thought he sent it.
No, he didn't, I don't think he attached it. I don't see an attachment.
I had it.
Can't approve a list.
I know.
I had it. Okay, so we'll send it.
It's little things, but if we can get something or whatever. Like the mayor said,
25 minutes. I mean, I guess I'm sure I have to do it tonight either.
he said most of the stuff should just go in the trash, but you know, somebody's trash is another person's treasure, so they say.
So I don't know if you want me to read the list, but it's pretty long. So the first thing is the old 804. Milwaukee Sawzall, 3 round cord, 3-prong electric cord reels, 6-inch hose, approximately 8 foot long, halogen floodlights, attic ladder, 10 Scott 4.5 SCBA frames, barrel strainer, emergency light bar, apparently rotator guy, steel chainsaw case only, task force nozzles, non-working, collapsible wheel chalk and mount, miscellaneous fire extinguisher brackets, miscellaneous fire extinguishers, gear rack, low-level strainers, broken low-level strainer, axes, halogens, hatchet, light box flashlights, MSA thermal imager, DeWalt battery operated Sawzall with case, a deck gun, Genesis portable unit, 25 SCBA bottles, 2-inch hard suction with barrel strainer, bench grinder, SCBA brackets and mounts, Asus computer monitor, 1.5-inch gated Y, 10 5-gallon buckets of old foam, 6 SCBA masks, foam inductor, fiberglass pipe pole, wooden pipe pole, 1 splinter, 3 of them, a HP V4050 scanner, HP K60 fax machine, old radio parts, and old light bar parts.
That thermal imager is something else I might be interested in. I lose my kitten in the house.
Oh, yeah, 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 plenty of kids.
Yeah.
It's lighting up everywhere here.
Well, you need to put out a list for Rod to put in the
Yeah,
notes.
I'll get,
I'll send it to them, yeah.
Okay,
stick.
all right, go ahead.
I'm not going to go into this right now, but I have some questions about some of the fire departments. I've received on FOIL all of their financial documents, and some of the things have been sold and where the money's gone, et cetera, et cetera. So I have some questions about that stuff. Okay. I don't know what to ask about this stuff at this particular moment.
So you think there are some items that have been auctioned off and we don't have?
I don't think anything.
All right.
So I guess the question right now is, do we want to allow them to sell this stuff?
Well,
Obviously, the
804 was already approved. This is
Right.
stuff that's,
All the other miscellaneous junk is found around there.
yeah, actually emphasis on junk used to be attached to that.
And obviously, any money received will go to the village account. So they're not profit or anything like that.
There's no rush on it, to get the list.
I can send it. We're going to do it next week. The auction doesn't expire. Just have junk playing around for a couple weeks.
Are you asking to put this up for another meeting? Laura?
Sure, yeah,
I didn't understand.
yeah, we can have it, the list you had emailed, and then we'll put it on the agenda, and then next meeting, we can do this.
But I will say that
I thought he
answer
said-
one of my concerns, which is every single item that we sold, that will go into the village accounts unless you say otherwise.
Yeah, no, we can't give money to the nonprofit.
I'm not getting into that right now.
Maybe others. What's happened in the past? I don't know. Anything from the department? Or anything else from fire department?
No, that's all I have.
Anything else from fire department? Yeah, so the next thing, we'll go into the budgets. There's only one motion on the agenda, but we actually need 3 motions. One for the general fund, one for the sewer fund, and one for the EMS fund.
Are we done with the pump?
Yeah.
Well,
Did we do DPW?
Oh, we didn't do
We did not.
Yeah,
We're in clerk's department.
I would make a motion to approve the general fund budget for 2023-24.
Second for that?
Second. So are we, where are we now? Are we where we thought we were before?
I was gonna go over that. So
Okay.
our, little tweak, not to the budget, but our assessment, assessed value of the village went up. So.
It went down
Down
last week, it went up this week.
He always tells us the final.
So, next week. Finally told us last week, they told us today, here's your real.
Yeah. So the general fund, total expenses are $3,779,122.
Okay.
The revenue not from taxes is $1,389,585.
Mike, could you say that again? I'm not.
Yeah, it's got it. It's on there. The revenue raised by taxes will be $2,389,537, which with the assessment rate, which is not on here, 150 million. You get to a tax rate of $20.65 per thousand assessed. Last year, or this current year's rate is $20.34, so that's an increase of 31 cents per thousand, or 1.5012%. So that's how, when we did our budget workshop, we went from 1.9 something to 1.5 something, because our assessed value went down, then it went up. Hopefully this is the real number now. We have a motion and a second to accept the budget. Any other discussion on the general fund?
Rusty second. Hey, John second.
There, we're voting on the general fund. Rusty?
Yes.
Laura?
Yes.
Dave? Yes. Fran?
Yes.
Charles?
Yes.
Ed?
Yes.
And yes. Now we need the
How about sewer, Ed?
same thing for the sewer.
I will make the motion to approve the sewer budget for the 2023-24 budget.
You got numbers somewhere for that. It's the same number, we didn't change, we haven't changed any change from that very original piece that we made.
Correct.
I'll second.
So our sewer budget, the income equals the expenses, which is $1,888,602.
With no increase at the FUEs.
Correct. No increase in the sewer rates.
No increase in the
Any discussion on that one? Rusty?
Yes.
Laura?
Yes.
Dave? Yes. Fran?
Yes.
Charles?
Yes.
Ed?
Yes.
And
Please that number out again for the sewer.
$1,888,602.
How about that EMS, Ed?
I'll make a motion to approve the EMS budget for the 2023 to 2024 village fiscal year.
I'll second.
Rodney's looking for it.
That looks good. I got that right here. That also didn't change, right? That didn't change. Who seconded that? That's the way, Rodney, 1305 and 155, 1555.
And the revenue should be 462.
No, it's the sewer. That's what I got. Oh, I'm sorry, EMS now, sorry.
Yeah.
No, EMS.
So the EMS funds itself, based on billing. Very well. So budget proposed next year, well, may possibly adopted, will be $462,967.
Can you make that? That's a little different. What is it?
462,967.
967? Slightly, just slightly different than this original.
Great.
Which is a conservative budget this year.
Yeah.
To date, whenever this was printed a while ago, we've already taken in $525,000.
Guys, want the new ambulances?
It is conservative, but I have one project going, that I'm working on.
All right, so we have a motion and a second. Rusty?
Yes,
I'll second.
we already did it.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
So Rusty?
Yes.
Laura,
Yep.
Dave? Yes. Fran?
Yes.
Charles?
Yes.
Ed?
Yes.
And
Mr. Mayor, if I could. Don't like to thank people, that's Charles's job and other people's job. But when our EMS folks spend days at the Strawberry Festival, many of them for nothing for us, thank you EMS for your hours, all that time.
Yeah, because we don't make anything off that.
Introduce everybody.
one over back. Lost it.
Or he left. I'm gonna guess he picked him up. He'll be back. All right,
Let's see, do the McMaster Street Fire.
I guess, so, Nate, do you wanna say anything about this McMaster Street barn before we do anything?
So I do recall having a conversation with the code officers maybe a week or two ago. I think we talked briefly about this. So I understand it appears that it might be unsafe, but Mick and Terry, I think, need to present a more comprehensive report to myself and the board, just outlining what they've done concerning this property over however long a period of time, and what their recommendation actually is and the basis for it if it's unsafe. And then from there, that would kickstart the proceeding, which would be initially a public hearing in front of you folks, giving the property owners an opportunity to come and explain why it's not unsafe, or present their own plan for repairing and or demolishing it. And at that point, you'd have an opportunity to make a finding that it's unsafe or not, and then authorize a Supreme Court action in order to compel them to either repair or demolish the structure. And in the alternative, the village would then have permission potentially from a judge to tear the structure down also. So there's a whole process. This resolution, I think, is a little early, or motion is a little early. Mick and Terry need to, I think, do a little more background gathering of information and evidence to really show exactly why it's unsafe, and then we can kind of go from there. But I'll connect with them and make sure they're on that path if that's what they think is necessary in this instance.
Okay, so Mr. Mayor, we do have a 10 or 15 page thing from this code here showing everything that they've done.
Okay.
And it's been a 2-year process so far.
But the latest thing is only a order to remedy. And that leaves a person, the resident, open to respond to the order, right? Is there a date?
I'm sorry, Laura, I didn't hear that.
So the pack of information that we got for the property, the most recent action looks like an order to remedy. So they were officially notified with paperwork that says that it's an unsafe structure and what the process is. And they had, 30 days to remedy it, right? For the next step. And that was May. So they're still in their zone.
Right.
So we don't have an action, right?
I don't think that you would be prepared for an action tonight, because Mick and Terry should put together a report that outlines in detail why they believe this structure is truly unsafe. That could entail like getting an engineering expert to provide that opinion if Mick and Terry aren't in a position to do that.
So one of the things that they're noticed and then said that I therefore declare the structure unsafe. I am serving you the property owner with notice to make the structure safe or have it removed immediately. I assume this is all in the code. The curing or removal of the structure shall commence within 10 days from the date of this service and be completed within 30 days therein. In the event of the neglect or refusal of the person served with notice to comply with the same, a hearing will be held before the village board of trustees, notice of which time and the will be sent to the owners. So, all those findings have to happen. If they did not start it within 10, they did not finish it within 30, we send them a notice. If that's what we're gonna do next, they're gonna have a hearing before us. I got that right, Nate, pretty much?
Sounds like the process you talked about.
Yeah, no, I think that's right. And I'm just looking at the letter they sent. And I mean, they sent the right letter to the property owner, but what they need to provide to the village board is, Rusty, that explanation of whether they've done anything or not, and, you know, a little more how and why they find it unsafe, and a recommendation to the board. I mean, they're actually a lot further along than I guess I'd realized, but not in a position tonight for the board to take action. I think at the next meeting, you know, if the board reviews this and we get a little more, you know, a report letter directed to the village board, you know, recommending action from them, then at your next meeting, July 5th, you would schedule a public hearing to take place in August, because we do have to serve notice of the hearing on the property owner. So we want to build in enough time for that also. But again, I don't think there's any action necessarily tonight. I'll talk to Mick and Terry and make sure for the July 5th meeting that if they're recommending, you know, we move forward legally, that we are in a position to do that on July 5th.
I was just seeing that, the word, imminent danger was attached to that. I looked at the pictures, and as it stands now, pun unintended, it was like the next strong wind will blow that thing right down. So hopefully, I'm a safety guy. Hopefully nobody is around that area when that happens. So I guess that's why they were stressing imminent danger. So whatever we can do to,
Part of the structure has fallen down already.
what we can do to get the ball rolling on that.
And the rest of it's leaning.
In the drive-by today, the barn is leaning more and the front is not, as per this picture with the colors on the front there, that's now falling apart and full, and so it's worse than it was in
Not
the
in good shape at all. Continue following the process, like Nate says. All right, our next thing, if we're gonna take any action on that, which sounds like we should, was budget adjustments. So there's a whole list. I think we can approve these all at once, but mainly they are grants. Even if they don't look like grants because they are overtime and police fees, they are the cops grants that's really for you guys. And the car purchase that we got from the Sam's grant.
all the lines that are going into.
Right.
Move that we approve all the budget adjustments on the front page.
Which total $99,000.
Say that again?
They total $99,974.53. So that'll make police department budget look better.
And the front and the back, I think.
I'll second.
Any discussion on that? That's what they are, we're just adjusting the budget based on the grants we got. Rusty?
Yes.
Laura?
Yes.
Dave? Yes. Fran?
Yes.
Charles?
Yes.
Ed's trying to get that in. I'll say yes. In word of mouth, like it's word of mouth. Texted me, he's trying to get that. Next item is transfer.
Move to transfer.
So this is to pay, we do this once a year to pay for the court and security.
We put it in the line item.
Let's put it on OPD because OPD's what actually does it.
Goes from court budget to OPD's part-time. Move to transfer as listed.
Second.
Any discussion on that? Rusty?
Yes.
Laura?
Yes.
Dave? Yes. Fran?
Yes.
Jonah?
Yes.
Yes. Next item is our DPW thing.
Yeah,
Yeah, trust me.
I guess, Fred had did some more, digging on this. Last meeting, we approved, monies for the Kawasaki FX 1000.
Which is a lawnmower.
Right.
Motorcycle.
But because they do not make the carbureted one in that, model, we are asking, I'd like to make a motion, to approve an increase of $1,500 to the previous quote of $24,666.70. That was submitted for approval at the last meeting, as I mentioned.
So it's gonna be like 6,000 now?
Yeah.
I'll second, and then I'd like to make a recommendation, Charles.
Yes.
Last time we did that, we picked exactly what we thought that bid was gonna be.
And that's
Now,
what
this
got us
time,
in
we're
trouble.
picking almost exactly what we thought that bid was gonna be. So I might recommend that instead of making that the 100 something, we do what we did on the doors of the fire station, make it maximum $27,000 in case there's any other little glitches that aren't exactly right.
I agree
Wanna
with
do
that.
So change it 24 to 27.
Yes.
Yes.
Max.
Oh, yes, actually, yeah. State bid up to 27.
The huge lawnmower, don't worry.
Okay, so you sure it's Kawasaki, not Lamborghini?
It doesn't have cup holders.
It's got 3 or 4 decks.
Yeah, I bet.
For mowing the fairgrounds. Okay, any discussion on that? Rusty?
Yes.
Laura?
Yes.
Dave? Yes. Fran?
Yes.
Char?
Yes.
And still? Yes. Oh, now we're up to fun time. So, skip the liquor license. So the next topic, local law, salary increases for mayor and trustees. So we have determined, so in the budget we just passed, has money in it to increase the salaries for trustees and the mayor. Only glitch, by New York state law, that's normally how you do it, but not in our village, because it's in our charter, what we get paid. So we have to do a local law to change the charter. So, on the agenda, we would potentially pass this resolution, which would schedule a public hearing.
Schedule public hearing for the next time.
We have to have,
But
we have to
consider
have a law in
that
place.
they're allowed to do that.
Yeah, which, so that they drew up a potential law. I don't know if you got it. Yeah, so last increase was 22 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
May I address the public?
Right.
Yeah.
The public, and on the tape. This proposal is that, the salaries for the mayor and the trustees that have been set at $5,000 for the mayor, $2,400 a year for the trustees. They've been set to that apparently for 22 years. The proposal is, and it's in our charter that that's what they have to be. The proposal is to raise those salaries to $10,000 to the mayor and $5,000 per year for each trustee. We have to, if that's going to be done, it has to be taken out of the charter because we can't, no one can change that with it in there. I don't know whether, I didn't know if you wanted that. I'm just alerting you what.
Yeah,
what that's
be
all
aware
about.
of what we're talking about.
Yeah. That extra money is in the budget. If the local law doesn't pass, just have extra money. We're not allowed to pay it ourselves.
Yeah.
But apparently the money is in the budget already for that if it's decided that that's going to be done.
That is true.
We need a motion for public hearing next week.
We do.
I'll make that motion.
Charles?
I'll second the motion.
This is to have a public hearing about local law X,
Correct.
which is that.
Like like any local law, we have to have a public hearing, publish on the paper, all that kind of stuff.
This would be in July.
Be July 5th.
This is, yeah, July, public hearing, you're making a motion to have public hearing July 5th at 7 p.m.
Yes.
Okay.
One day after my birthday.
Yeah.
Nice birthday.
Oh, yeah. Came out with a bang. Started with 1, 2.
All right, and discussion on the public hearing, not necessarily the law, but public hearing. Rusty?
I don't get to talk about it now. Yes.
Laura?
Yes.
Dave? Yes. Fran?
Yes.
Charles?
Yes.
Yes.
I think the fire board meeting is also at that day, at that time.
Yeah, it is. That's why we don't normally do it on Wednesday. Next item, treasurer's report. Everybody get it? Do we have any questions?
Good with it, Mike?
Yeah, it's gonna look a lot better after we transfer all that stuff.
Maybe it'll be right. Move to accept.
I second.
Any other questions? Rusty?
Yes.
Laura?
Yes.
Dave? Yes. Fran?
Yes.
Charles?
Yes.
Did we lose that?
Okay. Minutes.
For minutes, I'd like to motion to approve them as presented for June 5th.
I would like to make one amendment.
Okay. Yeah, let's,
On the first page where, there was some discussion of the, Marvin Park with Fair Board. We also discussed the fact that that was previously decided before New York State had, approved it. So it was not the time to make that change. It was decided 4 years ago.
I lost you. Stay on one.
Okay, the DRI money that was to be spent on the skate park.
Yeah.
Fair Board came in and asked, why couldn't we use that money on the grandstand? And, Charles talked about the uses that use the skate park. Plus, it was discussed that, I discussed the fact that it was decided 4 years ago when we did the DRI planning, before New York State approved it, that was how the money was to be spent.
Skate park.
You want those things in the minutes?
Yes, that needs to be in there. It was previously decided, it was not just something that we decided last working.
typically response as public comment in the minutes, right? I mean,
I think that one was.
it's just a, okay.
I could
But typically, you're right.
I'll add
Yeah,
something.
it's like someone's public comment.
Anything else?
Tiny little piece of crap, page 5, third motion down. Motion by trustee Spencer, seconded by trustee Spencer. Put somebody else in there with a second.
She did it all.
I'll see you guys.
Have a look at my.
Yeah, I would skip that.
Speaking of the motion, Laura's made it. Wait a
Second.
Right.
Somebody just second.
Rest of it. Right. Any other comments about the minutes? Yeah, good, right.
Okay.
So, should we approve with those comments? Rusty?
Yes.
Laura?
Yes.
Dave? Yes. Fran?
Yes.
Charles?
Yes.
Trustee reports. Rusty?
You know I do all the talking during the meeting, I don't have anything more.
Laura?
No, I've been attending meetings, our steering committee, we did a couple of those meetings, about determining how the RFP will go out for that budget. And, smart communities, we had a survey thing out at the Strawberry Festival Day, and we'd still like more people. So there's a link online we can share out maybe to the public so that we get more responses. Yeah, they were kind of busy on Strawberry Fest Day anyway, and we did have the launch of the recycling program at this year's Strawberry Fest. So we have the recycling containers, and the Future Farmers of America were the ones who were coming to collect them and then divide them up and get the bottles and returnables. So, and to hear good news about that at our next meeting. So that's it for me.
Garbage in general. That's all.
Bottles and cans disappeared real well.
Yeah. Yeah, they suffered going really up.
Anything else?
No.
Can I make a comment on the Strawberry Festival? Or should I wait?
Yeah.
With mine?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Dave?
You want it all together?
All right, where do you want it, Fran? Yeah.
I was very frustrated seeing that the Strawberry Festival Board allowed an illegal business to put a lot of money into the festival. The cannabis sales business out on Fifth Avenue is illegal. It's not approved by New York State. And sometime in the near future, they will get shut down by New York State. And so Strawberry Festival Board allowed them to put a lot of money into that. Plus, so I think they need to be more careful on the businesses that they work with.
We've had that chat.
I mean, I had decided that I was gonna go to the town board meeting tonight, but I couldn't be in two places at once. But I mean, the town of Owego, back when it was, we decided whether the village and town would opt in or opt out of cannabis sales, the town opted out. And now they are allowing this illegal business in their property.
Other municipalities have not.
Yep. Yeah.
The town is not allowing that. The town has no control over that. The county sheriff would be the one that would have to go there and enforce it. The town didn't give them permission to that. The town has nothing to do with that place there. They're not allowing or disallowing. And it's the sheriff's authority to do something, and they did rate them once this year already, and you can bet. You know, saw what happened, just happened in Elmira and in Binghamton, it's coming. Whatever.
Well, according to our attorney for Nikon, he said that the only way they could be closed down is to fine the landlord. And that has to be done by the municipality, not by the sheriff's department.
The town can do
So
it
the town needs to go in and say, we're gonna charge you 20,000 or whatever a month until you kick that tenant out.
The town can do it through zoning, which is force it.
It has to be handled from a legal stance. I mean, if they can't just, they're playing with some loopholes there as far as how it's being sold. And the other comment on, I mean, I'm not against cannabis. I have family members who use it, but we still need, as a village board, we need to regulate where smoking is allowed and not allowed on, like in parks and during large events. You know, you have more than X amount of people, then smoking of any type should not be imposed upon by the families and youth.
Well, that's how you have to do it. You can't single out cannabis or anything.
No, it would be smoking.
General smoking. There is that Tennant County ASAP group. They've offered to come before and get a hold of them to come. Because they have other sample laws that other municipalities around us have adopted about public smoking, I guess.
So is that up to you to get samples of those as the
I'll have
mayor?
them come present to us.
Okay, I appreciate that
They've
you
worked with
presented it to us.
North Valley and Johnson City, and, you know, places local.
So it's something we need to move on. It was oppressive in some places downtown. You got 10 8-year-olds hanging around where they're smoking.
And it's, I mean, no matter how many laws we have, it's basically unenforceable.
Well, if we don't have a law, we can't enforce it.
Better than nothing.
Yeah.
But I'll
Okay.
have them come present to us, because they have a whole program for parks.
Okay, that's all I had to say about the Strawberry Festival, other than it was great.
Yeah.
Association did a wonderful job.
It's a good time. Charles?
Yeah, I guess we covered everything from, code enforcement, fire department, and DPW. So this is my part when I start thanking everybody for the academy. I'd like to thank, all the EMS, fire department, all the volunteers that had to deal with the large crowd at the Strawberry Fest, which I believe has been overall success. It was great. I rode in the parade with Fran and David, who aimed at the kids with the candy. They were, I think it was your first parade, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we were trying to tell them, slow down with the candy, we ran out halfway through. But that's probably because it was such a large crowd. It was great. Yeah, I mean, all the vendors were wonderful. The food, I guess, was good. I tried not to go down there. After the parade, I had to go home and soak my arm from all the parade. And my face hurt from all the smiling I had to do. But overall, that's all I've seen throughout the day was the smiles from people. So I'd like to thank all the people who came from other parts of the world. I wore this shirt actually during the parade, and people really liked it. I told them I had to give them the shape to wear this, and it had to be round. So I mean, everybody had a good time, and that's what it's all about. So hopefully everybody returns next year. That's all I have to say about that.
Communications. Yeah, so I got a big DRI update. So we had a bid opening, the second bid for Marvin Park. It's the first time we got no bids for general contractors. So we got 2 bids this time. The only problem is both of them for the general contractor came in about $1.8 million.
What did we get last time? What were we asking for? 600 or something? I don't remember what we were asking for.
So our budget is about 700,000 less.
So you said they're both getting about 180.
Yeah, they're like within a couple $100 of each other. So, you know, not really good. Hunt is trying to figure out why they came in way over and what options we have. So that's part of it. Oh, yeah, that's bad news. Not good news. Yesterday, we had a meeting, kickoff meeting with Lothar Construction and the electrical guys. Dykout? That's not how you say it, though. Told us how you say it. But anyway, for the parking lots, the street lights across the river, and the sewer line behind Lake Street, they will be starting construction Monday. And I have the entire schedule here. So they're starting with the Court Street lot, which is the sewer project behind Lake Street, and then the lot. Then the next, second on the list is the Hyde lot.
When will it be?
That's why I brought this. Looks like July 22nd, 23rd. We're gonna start the Hyde lot. And After the high lot will be the Church Street lot, which is behind the movie theater. That'll be August 6th. Start that. The last lot will be the Park Street lot. The county lot.
The county lot.
Which will start August 22nd. Then the lights across the river are gonna get done like ASAP, probably time between Monday and, I guess I think it's a big deal here.
Has anyone actually pinpointed where the problem is?
Yeah, they're putting all the lights in there, so they don't even care what the problem is.
Cause I know there was like something that was disconnected during the building of the bridge.
Yeah, it's a power line, but they're gonna pull power.
Oh, okay, so.
So is that just, 434, or does it go up Halsted?
So the lights up Halsted work, that probably is where they're getting the power. But it's all the way down 434 to the highway, both directions. Right, so to the highway, if you're going toward Binghamton, take a right, there's 4 or 5 lights there. Take a left, it's 434 plus the road as you get down on the highway.
Because now it's pitch black out there.
Right. All LEDs to match our existing LEDs we got, all the same parts, pieces. So that's coming, so they're gonna do one lot at a time, in theory of minimizing the disruption to the parking. Get the word out.
So we got all the stuff for our sewer stuff, we got all the things signed off from everybody, we're good.
Yes. We need to work on the other side of the street. Apparently, in the movie theater lot, NICEAG is trying to move the power from above to below ground.
How's it done?
And NICEAG needs easements from all those owners. We need to get that done before they start that lot, because we don't want to pave it and dig it up again. So it's not really our problem, but it is our problem, so it's August 6th, we gotta get.
Well, that's gonna happen, don't we?
Bang on those doors.
That happens, don't we, with our sewer? We're gonna take it before we dig it.
They'll do this anyway.
Please.
And you can pass the word, Bothar is interested in working with the building owners. So a lot of those lots don't, we only own a chunk of them. So.
What's their name again?
Bothar Construction.
Can you spell it for me?
Bothar.
That's interesting because, I was just,
So they're working up some.
that's interesting because I was gonna go to them when they're there doing it, saying, you got some extra asphalt because we got some little places that would like to pay you, not DRI money, just a little,
They're very.
snippet to do some of those sites. Oh, excellent.
John,
Johnny's is full of holes that needs it.
they seem very willing to work with the private people to
We
get that done.
really ought to pay for that one between Lounsbury and Johnny, because it's actually
Like a driveway.
it's actually an entrance to the high lot. We don't necessarily have to pay for Johnny's parking spots, but the drive-through part, that's full of holes, we should put that into the DRI piece.
So they are out of the meeting one day. They're gonna go measure all that.
Yeah.
Get us numbers that we can talk about.
So whose asphalt is that?
Arthur. Mike, can I ask you a quick question?
Yep.
When's the pool open? Just kind of got notes in the gallery asking.
That's a hot question.
So right now we have lifeguards, we have a pool director, everybody's certified. We're waiting on inspections from the health department, who was closed until today, which we were working with them last week, so they had to correct some stuff. So hopefully, like,
This week or any day now?
yeah, as soon as we get all of our permits.
Was that the question? When the pool's open?
I heard July 8th was like the last, like that's
Hey.
definitely before that.
Yeah.
I'm shooting for the.
Ice skating?
That's 18 days. That's 3 weeks. Okay, thank you.
I'm shooting for
Thank you
that,
for that.
but yeah, sometime between now and July 8th. most of our lifeguards are high school kids. So that's what we make now. So
Maybe we
graduation-
should start now looking for lifeguards for next year.
Well, we have next time. At least pool director.
Get them signed up for
Yeah.
training, right?
Yep. So graduation Saturday, so that's plays into all that schedule.
Graduation is what?
Saturday
Saturday?
from OFA.
So is that when the parade is?
Oh, the parade is Thursday. The senior parade. They do like a car parade. They drive from Appalachian Elementary School to the OFA. So that'll be going on Thursday. We hear a lot of sirens. It's mostly cars and fire trucks.
So people will be stopping traffic so they can go through.
Yes. But it's only a couple minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, OPD is typically in the parade. I don't know if they're leading. Mayor's report. The only thing I have is we need another member on our planning board. There's an open seat. So I guess I would make a motion to appoint Ron Pelt to the open seat. Rusty?
So since we, unless somebody's pretty sure, and I didn't find it in my records yet, exactly when, Christina Van Wagenen was appointed and when her term ran out. If her term ran out this year, this April, then this is a brand new appointment, needs board approval. If it ran out later, when she resigned, then it's in the middle of the year appointment, and she just needs your thing. Why don't you appoint her, and then we will also vote to approve it for both of those eventualities. Does that work?
That was my plan.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Anyway, I'd like to appoint Ron Pelt to the.
Move to accept the mayor's appointment of Ron Pelton to the planning board.
Second. Any discussion on Ron? Thank you for
Good choice.
Rusty?
Yes.
Laura?
Yes.
Dave? Yes. Graham?
Yes.
Charles?
Yes.
Yes. So anyway, that hopefully helps them. That's all I have for mayor's report. Strawberry Fest was great. I'm sure we'll have a meeting soon with them to go over
Ooh, yeah.
how it went in detail. There were a couple things not necessarily their fault. Last thing, public comment.
Wait a minute, I didn't do my committees.
Well, we'll get back to you. What do you got?
The cemetery committee, we had to cancel the, workday on the 10th because of the smoke. But there will be the, workday, July, the, excuse me, would be, July the 8th at the cemetery. The, it hasn't started yet, but, there was a bid presented to, the Department of Public Works for the, concrete pad and steps that will be in front of the, mortuary chapel that will be paid for by the, Friends of Owego Evergreen from the, grant money from, Mildred Faulkner Truman. There's a slight shortfall, but the, Friends are covering that. So, we hope to see that happen very soon because it needs to be done by the end of August.
Both of them.
Yeah. I wanted to, well, I mentioned last time about the, investing with, the, all class. And I did put together information for all the trustees so they can see where, we have many accounts that are making zero interest. And we need to be making money on these. I highlighted this is apples to apples, what, this all class said, was for April. And, yeah, you're welcome. I highlighted the checking accounts, so, whoops, I wanted to give that one to the mayor. Sorry about that. Sorry, Laura.
Dave, I want you to.
Well, when you deduct out our checking accounts, for the month of April, we had, at the beginning of the month, we had $3,649,942 in, all accounts. And for the month of April, this all class was paying, $3,863 a month per million. So what we actually made in the few accounts that we do have invested for the month of April was $6,400. Now, if we had been invested at this rate of 4.8%, we would have made $14,000. So we lost essentially $7,683. We cannot afford to keep losing money like this. I mean, the local banks, they invest their money the same as anybody else does, and they are very, not very generous for this. So we need to, I mentioned this to Mayor Mike before, we need to have this lady from Syracuse come and answer the board's questions on what are, the pitfalls, etc.
Yep.
So we can start making money instead of losing it.
Yep. Hopefully we can schedule her for July meeting.
Yeah. Okay, that's all I have, thank you.
Anything else, Fran? You good?
I'm all done, thank you.
We'll go back to public comment.
I had one last thing to say. While I was multitasking here, listening to your meeting, I, for the very first time, went on the Pumpelly House website.
Okay.
And I found it kind of interesting because they're advertising for all kinds of events, including small concerts and events up to 150 people. I would encourage or invite all of you to go to the website and see, you know, what they're trying to market to and bring in and how it's impacting directly into the immediate neighborhood. I don't think the Dugan House has 150 people to dinner in a night. And that's, you know, an established business. So it's gone a long way from the bed and breakfast of Jane Taylor's to, you know, where it has evolved to at this point.
Is there zoning for noise there? Some kind of zoning? What would you talk about that?
We'll look into that.
Yeah.
Probably.
I know at a certain point in time, I mean, what prevents them from having a concert to go 1 o'clock in the morning?
Right.
Right,
Definitely. Rules for that. We have some, we have in our code some things about noise standards, but maybe not definitive.
Sure.
I would imagine in a residential district.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
So who can take that up, that if we know that they're advertising things that are not legal, they're going to go ahead and do it anyway, if someone doesn't entertain.
Code enforcement.
I just had a question about the Park Street lot and paving that. Isn't that a county-owned lot?
It is.
And so is the county paying for the paving there?
No, the state's paying for all of it, so they're.
Oh, so it is all DRI paving?
Yeah,
Okay,
their lot was in our DRI.
that's, all right.
Now, are they adding in, excuse me, I'm sorry, adding to those, EV charging stations at the same time?
Maybe not the same time, so that's a different grant. The idea is all the infrastructure is gonna be put in at the same time. They can just come in and slap it and charge it.
Mike, so anything that, any electric wires or things that need to be underground are gonna be put in, so it'll be under the paving, but hopefully, that's what it's supposed to be.
Yeah, when they-
Stuff up above is not gonna be.
All that stuff's not in our contract, but they're gonna work with the other contractor. Hopefully, get all that conduit in, so they don't dig up our new lots.
Question, is there anybody appointed overseeing any of these construction projects to make sure that they're being done correctly?
Yeah, so we have architects and engineers that we hired to
Do the plan?
construction management too.
Oh, they do construction management, so, but I mean, they're on site full time?
Most of the time.
Did I understand correctly, the skate park thing was approved for like 600,000 4 years ago? And now you've got 2 bids for 1 point, what is it?
That's the whole park.
Oh, that's the whole park.
Skate park is part of that.
Well, it's gonna be pretty sad.
Well, they've been all the Olympics, but yeah.
The high portions of the bid are the skate park and the bath.
When you guys get bids like this, if you get bids for $1.8 million and they're $200 apart, don't you say like, wait a minute, what's going on?
That's the stage we're in now.
Yeah, it can't be that close.
Yeah.
Without talking to each other.
And they're way over.
Yeah.
Well, way over what our engineers thought it would be.
They're like,
But again, that was 4 years ago.
they're
That's right.
50,000.
But that's
Since
right.
COVID, everything is going up.
We're very likely to have to relook at Martin Park.
Yeah, we don't know if it was, maybe because they wanted it done this summer. I don't know. They're supposed to be looking at all that.
There's fencing to be done there, pickleball court.
Yeah, the Martin Park project is pretty big, so it's a brand new bathrooms, knocked down the bathrooms that are there, built brand new bathrooms. Which the price for that's insane. For the size of the bathroom they're building. A new skate park that's say a real skate park, state of the art, that's molded in concrete, instead of stuck to the concrete. Redo the basketball courts. With a basketball court and pickleball courts, all new fence along Main Street, new entrance, new signs.
ADA playground.
Yeah, new, couple new pieces of equipment for the playground and all new surface. wood chips or whatever.
So we had a playground, and the playground is old, and like we grew up with, and now that's not gonna pass muster. Now it's gotta have a $200,000 base and on and on.
Yeah, gotta have fall zones and all kinds of stuff.
And we could die on that equipment.
Yeah. But no one do. I know, we already made us take out the big slide.
Yeah, did you get in there yet?
No, not yet. I got a couple things.
Oh, perfect.
One, I didn't get too much of Strawberry Festival. I did see a lot of the complaints about it. I think some of them were pretty petty, but some of them the Strawberry Festival Committee needs to really look at because.
So usually they have an after meeting where they
There's
go
some
over all that.
logistics in there that need to be changed. And I had no idea why they didn't have fire police directing traffic.
Not our choice.
But I know I had heard a couple of complaints that the auxiliary police from Endicott or whatever were rude to a few people.
There was a private company called Reeves.
But, and then the other thing, since Brian brought it up, you're talking about the pot shop, what's the village gonna do about the one on Main Street? Because the whole thing about getting this legalized was the tax money and agreed to it. And this guy's sitting here selling the stuff and not paying, not collecting any sales tax. The village ain't getting their cut, the state's not getting their cut.
I would say the police department is aware of that situation.
Oh, I know, because they sit out front every day and it doesn't do any good, they're still in and out of there all day long.
That's a police issue.
Yes, no. The Cannabis Control Board and the state of New York and Oko's new budget have changed the rules, and they just raided Binghamton, a couple places, they raided somebody, maybe somebody in Elmira. They're coming, and they're the ones that are gonna do the enforcement with alcohol, tobacco, and firearms. They're gonna do it. I'm gonna assume they're gonna do it all over the place, and the fines went from $150 to $10,000, and potential shutdown, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So we're hopeful that that's all.
Today, that one of them that just got busted is filing a lawsuit saying that they're violating something, so.
Good luck to them.
Yes. When the state does it, it's not pretty, I'll say that.
Well, I got a question, how do they get a business license if it's illegal?
They don't have a
Begin with.
business license.
Yeah, a lot of them don't have,
Why not just shut down?
that's one route.
They're not paying sales tax, they're not paying the
They
marijuana
have a
tax.
business license, they don't have a business license to sell marijuana. They have a business license to sell other things, paraphernalia, the things that they legally can
So
do.
they're getting around by selling a sticker.
Well, that's
in
the
their
sticker,
club.
that's the sticker deal with it, which is against the law, but
Right.
that's, once again, before, it was a $150 fine. You sell $50,000 worth of marijuana, I think I'll pay you a buck and a half, yeah. But they put some teeth in that now. But it doesn't happen like that.
Slow process.
Yeah, they said it's gonna take 10 years till everything is all set, but I mean, in the next 3 years, they're gonna be cracking down on these businesses.
Well, it's typical New York State, let's pass a law, but we'll don't have our ducks in a row first.
Figure it out later.
We'll pass it and we'll figure it out as we go along.
Drug dealers or drug dealers.
But anyway, yes, they're aware of that one. I would say our police department doesn't take kindly to them, so.
I mean, part of the idea of having a regulated marijuana business is that all the products are tested before they're sold. Right now, who knows what strengths are,
Hand out
you're
samples.
guessing.
When you go into,
You have no
when you go into
idea.
a real dispensary, it's much different than a sticker shop dispensary. What you see and what goes on.
Can you imagine when we had those, Canadian wildfires? Can you imagine if that was cannabis burning?
They'll all be asleep.
Everybody'd be really hungry. It was. Probably was. Hearing any other public comment?
Move to adjourn.
Kevin, have
Kevin?
something?
No, this might get now.
Oh, okay.
I was
Make it
warm-
fast and then
warm- warm up.
A little rocket?
I'd like to thank the front